I'm from Stable 28, you old fart. This armor's so damn uncomfortable. I have no idea how raiders can wear this shit, I said to myself as I worked my way down the road. After killing Blade, I started to think about how I could get around the raiders' encampment. If it was as big as he said it was, then I had no chance. So I came up with a little disguise. I took the spiked armor off Blade's body, found a helmet in his saddlebags, along with some more ammo, and put it on. It didn't all fit at first, but after some tinkering, I made it work. My armored stable barding was tucked away nicely in my own saddlebags, along with the ammo and a few other things. I had used some strips of cloth to hide my pip-buck, used some of Blade's blood to give me the insane pony look, messed up my mane, and did my best to hide my horn. Now I was walking down the road, finally going northeast, and I was gross. I smelled like ass, and kept getting pinched by the armor. I crested the last hill and I saw it. Now I understood what Blade meant by me not being able to sneak past. The camp was huge. From where I stood, I could already see over a dozen raider ponies walking around. They were armed to the teeth with guns, knives, bats, and what looked like spiked horseshoes. I could see more ponies moving along small alleyways between makeshift buildings. I'm really glad I decided to go with a disguise. There's no way around this place without running into some pony. There were huge cliffs running along the horizon, with two large hills right behind the camp. The road headed east right through the camp and right between where the hills met. There was a split between them, making a natural tunnel, and the camp blocked the only way in which it looked like the only way to get to the other side of the cliffs. Having swallowed my pride when I put on the raider disguise, I washed it down with my fear as I started walking through the disgusting camp of psychos. I could smell all the dirty ponies that were cutting up bodies and hanging them by chains on strangely well put together towers. Others were sitting in some alleys, either sticking something into their forelegs or huffing on odd-looking inhalers. Now and then I passed by a pony who just was talking to no pony that I could see, muttering softly as if they were in their own little world. There were also well-armed ponies standing guard along the main road that ran through the camp, their eyes watching for any pony who didn't look like one of them. About halfway through the camp, I felt like I was going to puke. The smell here was getting too much for me to take. It probably wouldn't raise my red flags for how gross this place was, but I held it down as best I could. Come to think of it, I think my fear was starting to make its way back up. I was starting to panic a little. What if I got caught? What if they decided to just kill the random pony walking through the middle of their camp? Then I ran into someone, making me almost soil the armor I stole. What the fuck? Watch where you're going or I'll turn you into paste. The putrid raider pony shouted through his disgusting yellow teeth. I wanted to say sorry, but I figured that would make him suspicious. Instead, I answered in my best raider voice, "Yeah, fuck you too, bitch," he replied as he walked away. I moved towards a darker alleyway and sat down. I took a moment to breathe and collect myself. I was in the middle of a raider settlement, wearing their armor, and had no idea what to do next. I have to find where the exit is that leads to Cartwheel, and get the fuck out of here. "Hey, you! What are you just doing sitting around?" said a familiar booming voice. I looked up to the face of the scariest pony I'd ever seen. He was taller than any pony I'd ever met. His coat was dark green, a white mane fell over part of his face, and on his face he had large scars going over both of his eyes and down his chin. He was wearing spiked armor with dried blood on the tips. His voice sounded like he had rusty nails in his throat. I knew I've heard this voice before, back when I was hiding in the shelter. "Sorry, boss," I said, doing best to keep my voice steady. I wasn't feeling well. He picked me up with one hoof and put his face against mine. "Do I know you?" I started to shake. "I'm not sure, boss. I just got here not long ago." He dropped me and turned. "Must be from that new group that came in last week. Fuck. I still can't tell you idiots apart. I've told your group a few times not to get high in the alleys. Only in the common rooms where I don't have to see you. I put on a smirk, hoping I could hide my fear and sarcasm. Where's the fun in that? He turned around and hit me across the face with those huge things he tried to pass off as hooves. Watch what you say to me. You young Turks think you can get high and talk back to me? Well, you're wrong. Hand over your stash before I decide to make an example out of you. He pulled out a large blade off his back and pressed the tip to my neck. I don't have anything, boss, I said, shaking hard. Dump out your saddlebag and we'll see, he said around the grip of the blade. I was shaking so hard I couldn't even think straight. I tried to use my hooves to remove the bag. Before I could, another pony ran up to us. Boss, we got an emergency. I'm a little busy if you can't tell here, Nail, the boss said, looking towards the other pony. It's Blade, sir. Bloodwhip and I went to go look for him like you ordered. Let me guess. You found him passed out, wasted on Buck again? The bastard can't ever do what he's told for even one fucking night. The boss interrupted, pulling the blade away from my neck and placing it over his back again. No, boss. He's dead. Found him with his head blown off near the road. His armor's missing. Same for his weapon. I think he ran into the same pony or ponies who killed the others. Fuck! Now this bastard's taken down 4 of my ponies? The boss said, slamming his hoof into the wall next to me, cracking it. It seemed as if he'd forgotten all about little old me, which was fine. You said his armor was missing? Yeah, boss. He might be in the camp then. I want every pony to be on lookout. Lock down the gate. I don't want him making it into town. Then he turned back at me. That means you, shrimp! Yeah, boss, I said and started to run off. Hey, shrimp! I stopped and looked back, shaking in the bloody armor. Yeah, boss? Grab a few of your friends and go towards town. Keep an eye out for some pony heading that way in our armor. If you find him, try and keep him alive. I'm gonna skin him alive myself. Yeah, boss, I said and bolted. I didn't get more than a few yards before 2 more raiders fell in beside me. One was the mare, who told the boss about Blade. At first I thought I'd been found out, but then she said, We'll go with you, kid. Most of your group is busy guarding slaves right now. Okay? I said, letting them lead the way. Neither of them talked as we headed towards the back of the camp. As we passed through the gate, the mare who spoke to me told one of the guards to close it up and lock it down. When that was done, we started towards the road. Now I was past the camp, but I wasn't alone. I was lucky before when I took down the others. With Blade, I had the element of surprise on my side, but now I had no idea how I could get away with my life. What's your name, kid? The mare asked, looking back at me. None of your business, I replied, looking away. Everything around here's my business, kid. I find it kinda odd that a new pony like yourself shows up at camp right after Blade and the others are killed, she said, still leading the way. The other pony, a stallion, kept quiet as she talked. I'm with a new group. I don't like giving my name to ponies I don't know very well, or trust, I said, doing my best to keep a rough edge in my voice. She laughed. Well, at least you aren't stupid. I'm gonna call you Shrimp then. But I do still want to know where you came from. Like I said, I'm with the new group. So why don't you just shut your fucking mouth? I said, trying to sound tough. I hoped they wouldn't suspect me since it sounded like new raiders joined up recently. She stopped at that, and so did the stallion. He turned around. You'll show Nail some respect if you want to make it back to camp in one piece, you little bitch. There's no need for that, she said to the stallion. She's just a filly. No respect for any pony. She'll learn. I can help her learn some respect, he said, licking his lips. I haven't had a young thing like her in a long time. I could use a little fun before we get to town. Shut up, Razor. I don't need your input, she said, and to my surprise, he did as he was told. She looked back at me. Now, how about you tell me the truth?
If you do, I'll let you get out of here alive. I know you're not one of us.
I froze. She saw right through me. All I could do now was hope I'd get lucky one more time. I'm not.
I thought so. Are you also the one who killed the others?
Her voice was calm, but her eyes spoke death. I couldn't help shaking as I looked into those dark brown orbs. I did. But it was only to protect myself. I didn't know what else to do. She's the one who killed the others? This little filly was about to take down some of our best, excluding Blade, of course. I'll kill this bitch, said the stallion, aiming his gun towards me.
There's no need for that, Razor,
she said, pulling out a shotgun. Why's that? She killed our friends, he started to say. Before he could finish, the mare turned, pulling the trigger, blowing his head into bloody chunks. His body was pushed back by the force, blood spraying over the ground, his body twisting a little. She turned towards me, holstering her shotgun. She smiled down at me as I shook, laying on the ground in fear. Please don't kill me too. I didn't mean to. I really didn't.
Hey, don't worry, kid. I'm not gonna kill you. You're just lucky I'm the one who saw through your shitty disguise before the boss did.
I was so confused. What do you mean? She reached over and pulled the cloth off my foreleg that was hiding my pip buck.
That's what I thought. You have the fish out of the water look of stable dwellers. What stable are you from?
What? Why do you care? I asked, still shaking a little as I stood up.
Listen, kid. I'm not one of those raiders. I'm only working undercover on a mission that you don't need to know about. As far as I know, there aren't any open or active stables on this side of the hills. Either you came down from the south, or you're from a stable that my friends have not found yet.
I looked again at the dead pony she just killed, then back at her. She had, as far as I knew, just saved my life. So I answered her. My name is Shadowstar. I just escaped from Stable 28. I was trying to get to Cartwheel to meet up with some pony named Boxtape. Her eyes widened when I mentioned my stable, and the smile left her face.
Stable 28, you say? That stable's location's been lost forever. Who told you to go find old Boxtape?
The pony who raised me? Her name's Auntie?
Yeah. I'm about 90% sure that isn't her name, but whatever. It's fine, I guess. Well, you're really lucky, because if the boss would have found out that you were from Stable 28, he would have beaten the location out of you. He's been looking for that stable for a while now. He must know it's near here, which would explain why he's set up in this area, she said. Listen, Shadow. I'm gonna let you go. Get to town and find a building called Equestrian Express. You'll find the old pony there. Just make sure you don't tell any pony that I let you go. I have to keep my cover.
What about the boss? Won't he notice that I'm missing, and what about that stallion, Razor?
He's too busy to notice anything like that. I'll tell him that Razor wandered off somewhere. They'll find him sooner or later, and think he was killed by this mysterious stallion like the others.
I couldn't wrap my head around what was happening, so I decided to just ask, "Why are you helping me?" She smiled again.
Because that's what I do. The band of razors you ran into are bad ponies, but I'm not. I do whatever I have to keep my cover for them for now. Just get to town and act normal, and don't tell any pony about me, okay?
I nodded. Okay. And thank you for helping me. It's nice to see there are nice ponies out here, too.
Yeah. Don't expect it if we meet again. Try and stay away from the camp and you should be alright. Now get going, Shrimp,
she said, turning and walking back towards the camp. I watched her go and then turned towards the dead raider. I moved over to his body and started to look through his pack. I found some ammo for my rifle, 3 healing potions, something called Rat-Away. I stowed them all in my pack and then started moving again, taking one last look back at the retreating mare. I wonder if my luck can hold out just a little longer. When I got a little ways away, I took off the uncomfortable raider barding as fast as I could. I tried to wipe off the blood that got on my coat from the armor with the cloth I used to cover my pip-buck. But all it did was make it worse. I cursed and threw the rag down. Once I entered the dark pass between the two hills, I moved a little faster, trying to put as much distance between the camp and myself. A little while later, I made it to the other side, and that's when I finally saw it. There was a small town at the end of the pass, if you could call it a town. It looked more like a bunch of shanties and a few pre-war buildings, put together behind a wooden wall. There was a open gate with a sign over it saying Cartwheel. I smiled and ran towards the town. "Stop right there, Raider. Take another step and you'll be eating lead," a pony with padded armor said, blocking the entrance to town. "I'm not a raider," I said, stopping in my tracks. Maybe all the ponies in the wasteland did point guns at each other. "Can't be anything but a raider. No pony would come through that pass unless they were. Now go back where you came from. We don't want any trouble," he said, keeping his rifle aimed at me. "I'm not a fucking raider. I just made it past their encampment." "Likely story. Now get out of here." "No, I'm not leaving. I've been through hell and back trying to get here. I'm not going to go back to where other ponies want to kill me," I yelled, stomping my hoof to the ground. It must have taken a moment as a sign that I was going to attack him. Next thing I knew, there was a loud bang. It felt like something kicked me in the chest. I looked down and saw blood leaking out from a hole just under my left shoulder on my upper chest. I couldn't believe it. I looked up at him. "You shot me? That really hurt." My vision started to go dark. Next thing I knew, I was face down on the ground. I could taste blood in my mouth, and it was getting hard to breathe. I could feel my heart racing, and the pain hit me. I tried to scream, but I couldn't get enough air in my lungs. All I was able to do was gag a little as blood frothed up in my throat and out my mouth. "What the hell did you just do, Switch?" "She's a raider. She has to be. She just wandered out from the pass. She's all bloody and stuff. Just look at her," he said, protesting. "She's only a filly. And look at what she's wearing. That isn't raider gear. She looks like a stable pony and she has a pip-buck. Go tell Doc Purpleheart what happened, and send another guard to help me get her inside," the mayor said, standing over me. I felt my body being turned over and found myself looking up at the cloudy sky. As the last of my vision faded, I swore I saw a pony way up high, flying over the hills. Then everything went black. "Shadow, sweetie, why are you still asleep?" Mother asked, shaking me slowly, trying to wake me up. "Sorry, Mommy. I didn't sleep much last night," I said, pulling myself up and looking out from my blankets. The walls of the stable were gray and boring as ever. "Were you having that bad dream again, sweetie?" Mother said, sitting on the floor next to my bed. "Uh-huh. It scared me. There was a big scary thing that wanted to eat me," I said, tearing up a little and putting my head on her shoulder. "It's okay now, Shadow. You know I'm always here for you." Her horn started to glow softly next to my head. Slowly, I started to feel better. Mother always knew how to calm me down after a bad dream. "I have an idea. How about we go down to the dining hall and see if your little friend is down there?" I perked up at that. "Can I get something sweet to eat?" She laughed. "Sure thing, just so long as you're good for Auntie while Mommy works today." "I promise." I opened my eyes and moaned in pain. It felt as if I'd been kicked on my side. Looking around, I saw I was in a small room with a blanket over me. I sat up a little more and tried to see where I was. A unicorn mare walked into the room. She had an apple-red coat, a brown mane, green eyes, and a cutie mark of scissors cutting fabric. "Oh good, you're awake. I was starting to get worried you'd sleep forever." My throat was dry, and all I could get out was a whisper. "Who are you?" "I'm Silver Snip. I'm the local tailor and armorer here. I'm the one who helped you out when you got shot by our guard. He feels terrible about that, by the way. I'm sorry that's the first impression you got of Cartwheel was a bullet," she said with a laugh, I rubbed my eyes, then looked back at her. Could I get some water or something, please? My throat's really dry. I'm not surprised. You've been out for a few hours now. I'll go grab the doctor for you, Silversnip said, walking out. About a minute later, a unicorn stallion with a purple coat and black mane walked in. He had a lab coat on, and he smiled. Hello there. I'm Dr. Purpleheart. I'm glad to see you're up. He walked over to me, setting down a glass of brownish water by my bed. I drank it, ignoring the slightly sour taste, gagged a little, and felt a lot better afterwards. That was kind of nasty, but it helped. Well, we don't have much in the way of clean water around here. I tried to get the best that I could find, though. I have a few questions for you now that you're awake, if you don't mind. Sure. Go ahead. He sat down next to my bed, and using his magic, he pulled a clipboard and pen close. Now, first of all, can I get your name? Oh, yeah, I'm Shadowstar. He jotted that down. Okay, Shadowstar. That's a pretty name. Okay, when you got in town, I was told you came through the Southeast Pass? How did you get through there? Does it matter, really? It does, as a matter of fact. The raiders have kept that pass closed down for a few years now. They're the only ones I've seen come through here. It's one reason our guard was so frightened. They don't normally bother us, but when they do, they always leave in their wake a disaster. I had no idea. When I left my stable, I wandered through some field for a while, until I found the road. I followed that and got jumped by 3 raiders. I was able to kill them and get away. Later, more of them almost found me again. I started to explain everything I could. How I met that metal bug, about the incident, about sneaking through the camp. I did leave out how that one mare helped me, though, only telling him I was able to sneak past the gate. When I finished, he had a look of shock on his face. Well, that's quite the tale. You must be one lucky mare. Well, it's the truth. What field did you wander through? Looked at my Pip-Buck's map and showed him. You went through Green Mist Valley. I think so. There was a lot of green mist. It was kinda spooky, and all the mist made my head hurt a little. I tried to get through it quickly. My Pip-Buck kept ticking at me. And that's because the area is full of radiation. It will also explain why I had to flush your system when they brought you in. You were very close to suffering from radiation poisoning. Wait, I was poisoned? Wow, you really are from a stable, aren't you? Well, you're going to need to learn more about the wasteland. Why don't you go with Silver? She should be able to help you out with that. She said you could stay with her while you got back on your hooves. Plus, a filly really shouldn't be wandering all by herself. I looked back at him. I'm not a filly, damn it. I'm just small. Oh, my apologies, Miss Starr. Well, you're all patched up. I put a healing potion in an IV once I removed the bullet. You'll be sore for a couple of days, but you're going to be okay. Oh, and don't worry about any payment. Silver took care of it. That took me by surprise. Why would I need to pay for a doctor's help? Isn't it your job to fix up ponies who are hurt or sick? He laughed. It is. But I also have to make a living, and I can't do that if I don't get paid for my work. Now, run along, and do be careful. The concept of paying for medical care was so odd. In Stable 28, it was the doctor's job to heal ponies, not to ask for money. I have to remember that I'm not in my stable anymore. I looked around a little and asked, where are my things? Your stuff is right outside the door with Silver. You can pick it up when you leave. I slid off the bed with a wince and walked to the door with the doctor. Right outside, waiting for me, was Silver Snip. She had a smile on her face. So, how about you come with me? I can show you where I live, and I have plenty of room for you to stay. Also, I didn't catch your name earlier. Shadowstar, I replied, smiling back. That's a nice name. I like it. I picked up my saddlebags and rifle as she led me out of the doctor's office and into the mucky streets. I took a moment to look around at the dilapidated buildings. As she led me down the road, I looked up at her. I don't know if I'll need a place to stay. I'm here to find some pony.
Oh, really? Who are you looking for?
His name is Box Tape. I was told I can find him here in town.
Box Tape? It's not often ponies come here looking for him, unless they need a courier.
I think he's an old friend of the mare who raised me. She said I should go find him as soon as possible. At least, that was all I could guess. I had no idea how a pony who never left the stable knew any pony outside of it.
Well, his office is right next to my shop. So if you want, we can stop by and see if he's in. Unless you'd prefer to rest first.
No, I think I've done enough resting, I think. I can't waste any more time. It's been almost a couple of days now since I left my stable. I really don't want to wait any longer.
Okay, if you must. If you feel like you do need to rest, just let me know. Also, I've been meaning to ask you, do you know how to read?
Of course I do.
Why? Not every pony in the wasteland can read. That's why I asked. I have something for you at my shop that will help you out in the wasteland. While you are talking to Box Tape, I'll go get it for you.
How is a book going to help me out here?
Just read it and you'll understand. Trust me.
I'm not sure if I can trust any pony right now. Ever since I left my stable, every pony seems to want me dead, I said, looking down.
You'll find that a lot in the wastes, even in some towns. Equestria isn't a peaceful place. It's every pony for themselves most of the time. Luckily for you, though, you found a nice town, and I'll be here to help you.
I couldn't help smiling.
Thank you. There we go. A smile is always a good sign.
She turned down a side street, then stopped next to a 2-story brick building. On the side, it said, Equestrian Express. No matter what, we'll get it there.
Here we are. I'll go in with you and introduce you.
I looked up at the letters, a little amazed. So far, everything Auntie told me was true. I still wanted to know how she knew so much of when no pony has ever been outside of the stable. We walked in and were greeted right away by an old pony. His coat was light brown, he had a gray mane, and his cutie mark was a box.
Hello, Miss Snip. How are you doing today?
He asked with a slightly high voice. He had a kind look on his face, and was older than any pony I'd ever seen before. He was practically ancient. The skin on his face sagged, almost covering his eyes.
Howdy, Box Tape. You're looking well today.
Bah, every day I wake up with a new part of me feeling like it's on fire. Seeing a sweet face like yours, however, brightens my day. So, what brings you in? Normally, have the caravans handle your shipments.
That I do. I get a deal on trade that way. I'm not here for business. I have a guest who came a long way to find you,
Silver Snip said, pushing me forward. He looked over the counter at me.
Who do we have here? Is that a pip-buck on your leg?
He sounded surprised.
She's a stable dweller. Poor thing got shot coming through the gate. She said she was told to come to town and find you.
His voice got shaky as he looked down at me.
It can't be. You can't be from a stable out there. The only stable out that way is 28, and they'd never let any pony leave. Not after...
He stopped himself briefly.
What's your name? And who told you to find me?
I'm Shadowstar, and I'm from Stable 28, you old fart. If you have to know, Auntie sent me to find you. She said you could help me when I left. I couldn't help the attitude. My body hurt. He cracked a smile.
Yep, I believe that. You talk just like her. Is she still going by that silly name?
Wait, what? He got me with that one.
Silver Snip, you can go for now. I have some stuff to talk with this young mare about.
All right, I'll stop by later.
And with that, she walked out, leaving me with the old stallion.
Come with me, Shadowstar. I got a feeling we'll be talking for a little while, and my old hooves can't take standing for too long,
he said, walking into the back room. I followed him into the little room and sat down across the chair. that had a few questionable stains on it. He groaned a little as he sat.
So, you're from Stable 28. I ain't seen another pony from there in, about 8 years, I think. Tell me, why is such a young mare like yourself out in the wasteland alone?
I don't know why. Besides the fact that I was pretty much forced to leave. I choked a little. The water I drank earlier wasn't agreeing with my stomach.
Forced to leave? Did the overmare kick you out?
He asked, sounding like he already knew the answer. No, she didn't kick me out. She was actually the reason I left. I told him the whole story of finding the pip buck, the overmare wanted to cut my foreleg off, and my daring escape.
Holy damn, girl. Now that's a crazy story. Like a squirrel kissing a rattlesnake.
He said, surprised after hearing my story. Squirrel? Rattlesnake? What? I said in confusion at his weird analogy.
Oh, don't overthink it. It's just a saying. So your overmare was willing to cut off your leg to get that pip buck you found. That sounds pretty grisly. Not as bad as what the monsters in the wasteland will do to you. Like those raiders up the road. Some of them would probably kill you and mash you to baked potatoes. Then they'd drink you like a berry smoothie,
He said with a chuckle. That was it. I was going to vomit. In a split second, I looked for the sign above the door that said restroom and ran, starting to heave. I was able to make it to the toilet in the stall and puke in the disgusting water. It tasted even worse coming out rather than going back in.
I still got it. Sorry about that. Thought you had a stronger stomach. Hot damn, that's funny.
A little irritated, I replied.
Yeah, real funny.
Here, I'll make it up to you. Have a sparkle cola. It'll ease your stomach.
What's sparkle cola?
Oh yeah, you're from a stable. You probably don't know what this is. Sparkle cola is carrot-flavored soda that used to be manufactured before the mega spells.
Okay, sure, I'll have some. Thanks. I took the bottle from his hoof. I opened the glass bottle and began to drink. Goddesses, it was delicious. By far the best thing I've ever ingested since I arrived in the wasteland. Actually, the only thing I've ingested in the wasteland was the gross water and the bottle I found in the shelter. My dry mouth was relieved, and it left a delightful carroty aftertaste in my mouth. But after finishing the sparkle cola, my stomach started to growl, and I remembered that I haven't eaten since before I left the stable.
Sounds like you're running on empty. Tell you what, once we're done talking, I'll treat you to some dinner at the tavern in town,
he offered, as if still wanting to make up for making me sick. It's all right. You don't have to do that. I'll be fine.
Horse apples. You probably haven't eaten in days, and I ain't about to let a mare like yourself go hungry,
he argued back to me. Okay, if you insist. Just as long as I don't have to eat deep-fried bug or anything.
Nah, they only have that as a special on Tuesdays. How about this? Let's go eat now and finish up later. You gotta get something down your gullet before you pass out or something,
he said, getting up and walking over to me. As I walked over, he picked up the bottle cap I'd just dropped by the floor and pocketed it. Okay, it was a little odd, but maybe old ponies just were. So I followed him as he walked out. He led me down the street and into a run-down-looking building. We walked up to the bar. The pony running it looked over at him.
Hey there, Box Tape. What brings you here today? What else? I'm hungry. Same for this little mare here. Just give me 2 orders of the usual. Poor girdle doesn't have that strong of a stomach.
Sure thing.
That'll be 20 caps,
he said, holding out a hoof.
For 2 orders? 1 is normally 6 caps. Learn to do your numbers.
Box Tape replied, tapping his hoof at the table in front of him. 2 orders will take me longer. Cost more for the extra time.
Twice the time, twice the caps. Here's 12.
Box Tape said, giving him a stern look.
Or, if you want to charge me more, I can do that the next time you need something sent out by courier.
Ah, fine, you old goat. 12. The bartender replied, holding out a hoof.
See, that wasn't so hard, was it?
He said, as he gave him 12 bottle caps. I had a puzzled look as he walked back to me. What was that? Why didn't you pay him?
What are you talking about? I did pay him.
He looked confused for a split second.
Oh, I keep forgetting. Stable mare. We don't use bits in the wasteland. We use bottle caps.
Oh, that's different? Or a little crazy?
You'll get it all down. Come on, let's go sit while we wait for our food.
I followed and sat down at a table across from him. A few minutes later, the bartender brought the food out, dropped it in front of us. I couldn't tell what it was at first, but it tasted amazing. We ate in silence for a while. I took the time to just relax and take in what's happened so far. So much happened that I hadn't really had time to process everything.
You look like you've got a lot on your mind.
I kinda do. A lot has happened. I still don't really understand anything either.
How about you tell me what's on your mind then? Maybe it'll make you feel better.
First of all, how in the goddess's name do you know Auntie? Our stable's only been open a couple of times. Once when my mother came, and the stable, and when I left. Well, I guess the time she left too. He leaned back.
Well, I can tell that your stable's changed since I last in contact with any pony from there.
What do you mean?
Stable 28 normally keeps its door closed. However, they did used to send ponies out to come here and trade supplies and such. That's how I know Auntie. She used to be one of those ponies. It was 9 years ago that it all changed. One day the doors closed and never reopened. Well, not for trade at least. Like I said, the last pony I saw from that stable was 8 years ago.
I hadn't caught on to that one before. But now, with food in me, my brain was working a bit better. 8 years ago?
Yep. A cute young mare came through the town on her way north. If I were younger, I would have put the moves on her, I'll tell you what.
What did she look like? I asked, almost jumping out of my seat.
A blue coat, grayish mane, can't remember much else. She did have a pip buck and was from your stable,
he said, leaning back. That's my mother. It has to be. Did she tell you where she was going?
Ah, so you're the daughter she was talking about. She said something about leaving a little filly behind. I'm not sure where she was going for sure, but once she got her provisions, she headed north for Horseshoe.
Was every town in the wasteland named after an object? How far away is that?
It's pretty far. It's also a dangerous road along that way, and you'll probably won't even find her there.
I looked down at my hooves. I know, but I want to try. She left me a long time ago, but I know there's got to be a reason why. If anything, I want to find her and ask why she had to go and leave me behind like she did.
Has to be some anger in you somewhere for her leaving.
A little, but I don't know everything. I want to give her a chance to explain. I have nothing else to do since I can't go home. He cracked a smile.
Well then, how about you work for me? My last courier hasn't come back from his run, and I have a couple orders stacking up.
A job working for you? What makes you think I'd be any good at it?
Because you're a lucky pony. I could tell that from the moment I saw you. I mean, you want to find your ma, and that's the best way to get to know the wasteland.
He has a point, a voice said from behind me. I jumped before looking up to see Silver Snip. She smiled at me. Didn't mean to scare you, Shadow. I was looking for you two. Why's that? I asked as she sat with us. I said I had a book for you. Took me a little while to find it, but here you go. She put a beaten-up book down on the table in front of me, with the title Wasteland Survival Guide by Ditsy Doo. The author owns a store in New Appaloosa, and she trades with us now and again. She gives this book out as often as she can for free. How does she know so much about the wasteland? I asked as I picked up the book.
She's a ghoul, and over 200 years old. She's seen a lot and done a lot. Just read the book and you'll understand.
I looked back at her with a shocked expression.
Wait, what the hell is a ghoul and how can she be over 200 years old?
Silver laughed a little.
Ghouls are ponies who were exposed to too much radiation, but instead of dying, they turned into ghouls. Radiation doesn't affect them like it does normal ponies, and they don't age like we do either. Most ghouls you see in the wasteland, however, have lost their minds, turning them feral, and they can be quite dangerous. There are a few good ones, though, that you can run into, and Itzy is one of them. The book goes into more detail about them.
Okay then, I'll give it a read. I wasn't sure I liked the sound of ghouls, no matter what Silver told me.
You should also take box tape up on that job offer. Best way to find out more about what happened to your mother.
Okay then, I'll take the job, I said, looking back at box tape.
Good to hear. Now, shall we be heading out? It's getting a little late, and I have a lot to teach you about the business.
Where will I be staying?
Well, for now, you have to crash on the couch. Not much room in my living quarters,
Box tape said.
Or you can stay in my spare room if you want,
Silver chimed in.
I said before that I have room for you.
Thanks, I'd like that.
Good. Well, when you two are finished up for tonight, just stop on by. I'm sure I'll still be up working on something or another,
she said, getting up and heading out of the tavern. I watched her go, not able to help myself as I eyed her flanks. I couldn't help my small smile. It was nice to find such nice ponies out here in the wastelands. When she was gone, I looked back at box tape and saw a goofy grin on his face.
What?
She does have a nice ass, doesn't she?
He said with a laugh.
I mean...
Oh, who cares? You like looking at flanks. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Now come on. Let's be getting to it,
he said, getting up. I got up and followed him. He may be a strange old pony, but that only made him more interesting. Throughout the next day, I was starting to get the hang of living outside of the stable. The book I'd gotten from Silver Snip did help a lot. There were a whole lot of sections on weapons, one on creatures to watch out for, foods to avoid, dangerous parts of Equestria to avoid, and much more. I learned what a ghoul was and the difference between feral and non-feral were, though it didn't help much when I first met a non-feral the next morning, shopping with Silver Snip. Luckily, the dead-looking pony didn't get mad at my screams. He only laughed in a rough voice that resembled a veteran smoker. I also learned more about what I'd be doing as a courier for box tape. It looked like some ponies only trusted a courier over a caravan. Some liked the prices, or couldn't afford the guarded caravans. Box tape had connections all over. I'd have to travel to these places with packages or whatever and deliver it. I'd also have to try and stay alive while doing so.
Shadow, wake up, quick,
Silver Snip said, shaking me out of my precious slumber. It was the next morning now, and I hadn't gotten much sleep because box tape kept me up most of the night talking about his old days as a courier and the adventures he used to have as a young buck.
Huh?
What time is it? I said, slowly getting up.
It's early, but you have to get up now.
She sounded like she was in a panic.
What?
Why? She looked over her shoulder, then back at me.
The raiders are in town. I don't know what they want, but they could be looking for you. You have to hide.
I jumped out of bed and put on my stable barding, grabbing my rifle.
I'm not hiding.
I'm done running away.
Shadow, this isn't the time to be brave. Please. At least go next door to box tapes and wait there in the upper room. They might only be here to steal supplies. I don't want you to get mixed up in something that may not even be about you,
she said sternly. Fine, but if something happens, I'm not staying put.
Okay, just go, quick,
she said, running out the door. I walked out after her and moved next door to box tape's office. He was at the door waiting. He opened up quickly.
Upstairs. You can watch from the window,
I didn't have time to reply as he closed the door behind me and locked it from the outside. I swore and moved upstairs to the window. The office had a good view of the main road leading in and out of town. What I saw was scary. A large mechanical pony walked in from the past side entrance, followed by 8 other raider ponies, one of which was the mare who helped me get away. What the fuck is that? I said to myself as I watched them walk in the middle of town. The mechanical pony started to speak, and I heard the voice of the boss, masked a little by the helmet he was wearing.
Look at what we got here. A nice welcoming party.
A pony walked forward. I recognized him now as the town's mayor.
Why are you here? The deal we had says you'll let us be, as long as we don't stop you from blocking the road. Yes, but part of the deal was that you wouldn't let any pony come into town from our side of town unless it was one of us. You didn't live up to that. 5 of my ponies are dead, Mayor, and from what I found out, that pony came into town. I want this pony. I'll only give you one chance to hand them over.
The boss replied. No pony came into our town, sir. A guard of ours shot at some pony a couple of days ago, but they ran off. The boss moved his shoulder, and a large gun moved from his back, pointed right at the mayor.
Want to try that again? If a pony came through the pass, they'd have to go through town to get away. There isn't any other way around.
The mayor started to shake, but before he could talk, Silver Snip walked forward. Sir, the mayor is only scared. You're right. A pony did come through town. He looked over at her.
And why were they allowed to pass through?
Allowed nothing. He was a large pony who was armed to the teeth. We had no choice but to let him go through. Damn, she was a good liar. If I hadn't known she was lying, I'd have fallen for it.
Well, now that's cute, Silver Snip. You really do have a way with words, you know that?
The boss said. What do you mean? In answer, his gun went off and blasted the head of the mayor clean off. Ponies screamed and ran. However, Silver Snip stood her ground, with tears falling from her eyes, but nothing else showing her fear. He got in her face.
I know you're lying, because the pony who killed my ponies was a small pony, and the pony was a mare.
Her eyes went wide. How would you know that?
First of all, a large stallion couldn't have fit into Blade's armor. He wasn't a large pony. Second, I ran into a pony I didn't know in camp, and her armor was loose on her. At first, I thought she was one of the new ponies I invited into my camp. Later, I found off she'd ran off after I'd talked with her. One of my ponies who went after her was killed in the process. Now tell me, where is she? Or else?
A mare never came into town, sir, I promise you that.
Fine. If that's the way you want to play it.
He looked around towards his raiders.
Grab a few of the foals and this mare here. The town has till tomorrow to hand over the mare who killed our companions. If not, their friends and children will be sold as slaves, and we'll be back to kill every pony else in this fucking shithole of a town.
As he finished, his raiders bolted. Within a few minutes, they came back with colts and fillies tied up and slung over their backs. I ran to the door and banged on it, but it wouldn't budge. I dug in my packs and pulled out my bobby pins and started to work on the lock. Unfortunately, it was too strong. I broke all 3 bobby pins I had left. I screamed and kicked the door. I wasn't going to let those raiders kill any more ponies because of me. The door wasn't going to break, so I concentrated on my magic. I wasn't good at teleportation, but if I concentrated hard enough, I could go a few feet. And that was all I needed to get to the other side of the door. I tried, but in my emotional state, getting a hold of my magic was hard. I took a deep breath and did my best to calm down a bit. Finally, I was able to hold my magic and cast the spell. In a flash, I was outside. I ran for the main road, but I was too late. They were all gone. When I reached the street, I only found crying mothers, the dead mayor, and a shocked box tape. He looked at me with tears in his eyes.
They took her.
Anger flooded through me. Don't worry. I'm going to go to the camp and get them back.
How are you going to do that? Turn yourself in? It won't work. They'll kill you and still enslave the others.
I'm not going to just let this happen. I'm going to help them or die trying. He looked over at me.
You ain't going to let this go, are you? All right then. Come with me.
He got up and started to head back towards the office. I followed. What did you have in mind, Box Tape? He looked back.
Just keep quiet and come with me.
Footnote. Level up. New perk added. Pony in Timberwolf's clothing. You have learned the art of deceit. Now you can wear your fallen enemy's barding and blend in. But don't get too close to any pony. They might be able to see through your disguise.